Good morning. How is
Quiet room.
everybody today?
Quiet. It's
Good
going to be
morning.
sunny and hot here today. It's like yesterday.
I rate my summers as breezy, windy, or stagnant. Today will be a stagnant day.
That's the humidity like down there these days.
I think it's like 90s.
Yeah, it's probably around where we are.
Yeah. I have no breeze. I went out this morning. There's no breeze.
Yeah, that's not even good.
Nope. All right. We're
Okay,
shuffling in here.
let's get rolling. A busy
All
day.
right.
Time is a wasting. Okay, well, today, CPI data report. Core is expected to be rise 3% annually. We'll see. That should be out anytime right now. So we'll be watching for that. Earnings, the bank earnings are coming in. It looks like JP Morgan, Wells Fargo have all done well. BlackRock have all reported already. So State Street, Citigroup are going to report. So be interesting. Be interesting to see. I'm sure investment banking and trading are doing well, and it'll be interesting to see what the credit card market looks like and see if they're still adding to the delinquency potential of credit cards. So that'll be interesting to see if that comes up. Um, Trade desk is up 14%. It's going to be included in the S&P 500. So if anyone's in trade desk, you're going to have a nice little upside surprise. NVIDIA, you're seeing a little bump in NVIDIA. They got permission, I guess, to resume sales of the H20 AI chip to China. Last I looked, it was up 4.5%, 5%, somewhere in that area. So different news. We still have tariff stuff out there, but today the real news is going to be CPI, and if that's going to influence the Fed to lower rates or raise rates or keep the rates the same. Like it matters because we're sitting at all-time highs anyway. So I don't know why, from a stock market point of view, other than you know short-term rates, why it's a big deal, but it is. Let's go look at our chart here. Then we had just on the swing trade list. Textron still there, up about 6.29%. Um, QRVO and both uh, QRVO hit the 9 on the going down yesterday, hit a sell for me. So it got out, minus, didn't have to do that, but it just did. I had things to do. I wasn't sitting around watching it. On tripped that also, it hit a sell limit, up a little bit on, but still Arista Networks, Plains All American and Johnson's still in. Carrier, American Electric, Align and Semtech didn't get into those because it didn't hit anything. Come down to the under 200s. Bath Bed and Body Works finally hit a sell limit on that. So we're up 14.19%, not bad. Vesco is still in at 10.45%. Churchill Downs still in at 1.43. These were put on the list, but I wouldn't have gotten into it because it wouldn't have hit low enough for me to trigger, except for Sunstone Hotels actually did, and it's up about 1.1%. And then on our momentum stocks down here, these are the new ones. 3, 4, 5 of the 9, the green line of death came on, so I wouldn't enter into those positions for sure. And we're up a little on Tapestry since we put it on, Teledyne, Bitcoin, and Bitwise, of course, because of what happened yesterday. We'll show you some of those charts also. So let's go take a look at charts. Get this up. Okay, here we go. Okay. SPY, again, we came right up, been riding along this resistance level. The 9's coming up again, squeezing that price action in between. Can open just a little bit higher as of about 30 minutes ago. Again, oscillators kind of flattening out a bit on the oscillators, but again, that's because we're just heading sideways. We'll see. Again, but it looks like a little bit of a pop up, but you have sell orders, way up here at 637.54 above the upper Bollinger Band, but we still need to break through resistance at this point in a significant way. The Dow, same thing, came shooting up, boom, stayed sideways. We closed just under the 9. You can see the 9 is really close to the intermediate resistance level. Going to open a little bit under, and you see that 9 starting to curve down, and also see the oscillators confirming that. Do have looks like it's going to be a golden cross of the 50 over the 200 here, which is usually a positive indicator. But again, we need to stop going sideways and shoot up a little bit higher. What is encouraging is a lot of people have sell orders up quite a ways above that. But again, we got to get past that 9. It doesn't mean we can't, but it's just a significant level of resistance. Qs. Come on, Qs. Well, same story. Here's resistance. Here's where we're going to see some openings just a little bit above. And again, CPI is coming out as we speak. So Trent, maybe be able to look that up. We can talk about that in a second. Gold.
Repeat that. Look up what? Sorry.
CPI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you could. Gold just going straight, sideways. Going to open up about where we closed. Silver had a good day yesterday. Went up right at resistance. Couldn't make it. Pop back down. Again, you're above the upper Bollinger Band, so you're allowed to come back down and move over, back, keep moving over. But again, resistance and sell orders on silver. Bitcoin. Okay, back a little. Again, when you start these rises, you start hitting these levels of 110, 115, 120. And again, nice run up. Here we hit above 120, went up to 123 plus change. And of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times around the Bollinger, we did get out here and pull back in, still within above the above the 9, which is right here at support, about 115. And again, a little bit of a roll over here, but you'd expect some selling after these big upgrades. But now we're in a different channel here between about 115 and 120, just like we were in this channel, We'll see what happens. But again, you expect a little bit of fallback, but still at 117, considering, a week ago, we were sitting at 107, so 10,000 bucks up in a week, not too bad. And then you have MicroStrategy coming up, still rolling up, but there's your resistance. We're 1, 2, 3, 4 outside of the Bollinger Band. Looks like we're going to open up inside the Bollinger Band today with Bitcoin coming down a little bit. But again, a nice little run on MicroStrategy. And oscillators still look pretty good, but we're going to open up right back there. And IBIT, it's on our momentum list. Okay, IBIT with this is the ETF, the largest ETF by BlackRock with Bitcoin. And again, outside the Bollinger Band, rolling up. I'd expect that to move inside here with Bitcoin kind of bringing back the price a little bit, but still no level of resistance. And we got sell orders up here at 74.76, so quite a bit up there. But again, I'm expecting with following Bitcoin price action, we're going to see that roll over a little bit, maybe some selling because institutions are in this. BMAX. This one's interesting. This is BitMax. This invests in companies that are treasury companies like MicroStrategy. There's 120 some of these companies, so they invest in those. But you can see the volume is really low. Okay, I mean here's 5,000, and here on this big candle just 9,700. So, it shoots it up, but there's no volume there whatsoever, which makes it kind of dangerous for swing trading, in my opinion. But again, I'm just showing you, the effect of Bitcoin and how it has on its secondary and tertiary stocks. NVIDIA, there we go. Right along resistance again. I got the 9 rolling up, still flat on the oscillators. And again, you got some sell orders right above that. We're going to open right here, okay, because of the ability for them to sell a chip in China. So we're going to go from here, and this is one of those kind of events that can move it past resistance and keep it moving up. So we're going to open up, but we'll see what happens, after we open up if it comes back down, it gets sells. But right now it looks like it's going to open up. Meta did that classic. Here's the roll up to the intermediate resistance level and then back down. Tried to pop back up yesterday. We're going to open up just below resistance, it looks like, but we'll see. The oscillators are, turning down to the negatives on Meta right at this moment. Microsoft looks about the same as Meta. We're starting to roll over. They've got resistance here. Here's where we're going to open. Same story. And these look just like the S&P and the Q charts, the Q's charts. Google. Google, you got resistance way up here. You are above the 200 now. And we're starting to see, 4 days of upward swing above the 9. Come up, hit the Bollinger Band. We're going to open again right above that. So Google's got a little bit of gas in it right now. A little bit of room to roll. Here's your sell orders way up here above the resistance at 193.2. So, Google has a nice shot here, and might want to look at the oscillators confirming we're still moving up in momentum. So, if you're interested in Google as an investment, you're above the 200, and we're starting to see a little bit of a roll. We came over here and did this before. We get past that, you still have some room to go. It just depends on the momentum of the stocks today. But, if you're looking at Google and you like Google, you may consider it here. Might want to get a better price, lower towards the support level if you can, not above the upper Bollinger Band. Apple. Apple is sideways to down. Trent and I were talking about Apple yesterday. It just seems like they're lacking innovation. We can talk about that a little later, but when you think about what they have, I was talking about getting a new phone yesterday and just how inexpensive phones are. And I don't use Apple products. I use Samsung Androids, and I'm perfectly happy with that. And I think I got my phone for $3. And I can't even imagine going, for me personally, buying a new phone every year because it's upgraded the camera or whatever. And I'm not sure that's what Apple does. And, they got their AI and stuff, but they just seem to be floundering a little bit. Now they're underneath the 9, starting to see the roll of the MACD on Apple going to open up just a little bit above where we closed yesterday. Amazon. Amazon had a nice run up, but here we are at resistance, and that's about where we're going to open. Does it mean it can't get past there? No, it can roll up, and you can see it sometimes bounce up to where the sell orders are. It's pretty high up there in the sell orders. It's got to meaningfully get past this line of resistance. Again, oscillators are not showing me great run up strength, but again, nice run here. This would have been a nice swing right here. But again, I would have been out at the intermediate resistance level if I was swinging it as an investment. You're above the 200. Tesla. Tesla's come up. It's just above the 200 again. So if I look back a little bit, let's just go look and see how it's been playing the 200. Well, yeah, back in this area in the end of April, we shot up above the 200 and then came back down. But again, we've been playing under the 200 a little bit with Tesla, with him getting into politics and the other things he's into, kind of affected the price. We'll see, but it's kind of rolling back up a little bit now. Go back to the 3-month, but it's above the 200. You got to get it past the 50. We're starting to see a little bit of a bump on the stochastic. Our size above 50. We're not there on the MACD yet, but we've had some good run up on the trend on Tesla. So maybe you can get into Tesla and ride it up to resistance, which is right where the Bollinger Band is on the upper side. And Palantir. Palantir, again, it's kind of sideways. The resistance level has gone away, the intermediate. And now we're just looking at opening here, and you've got sell orders above it. So you may have some room to maybe take off on Palantir. We're starting to see a little bit of a
yesterday.
Positive. What's that?
It pumped yesterday. It was up like $7 yesterday.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, you can see the candlestick right up to the upper Bollinger Band, and we've played this upper Bollinger Band before, so it likes to hit that upper Bollinger Band. But if you're going to get in, I like to get in on sale. You can see it comes down to support, and then
not the time to get in.
Well, I mean, some people want to trade it, based on the
Yeah,
charts. And
yeah.
um,
No, I get
if
it.
you, I mean, you're above the 200, you got oscillators that are positive and turning. So you could trade it, but I would get in back at a level, try to get in back at this level here. Again, as an investment, let's just go back and see how the 200 looks. Just see, it's been a pretty good investment. Let's go back a year. Still back
Oh,
a
it's been
year.
good money.
Yeah,
That's for
look at
sure.
this. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good, that was a good investment if you'd use that
yeah.
Paul Tudor Jones. Yeah. So it's interesting Palantir and where it's come, and watching the history of Palantir and the stock and everything. It's certainly been an impressive move for sure on Palantir. We look at some of the BBWI. Finally had resistance come on BBWI. It came up above the 200 and came back down. Here's where our entry was. We're definitely out of this now, but we were out with 14% gain. So that was a nice run on BBWI. Of all things, Bath and Body Works, we made 14% on. COO out on this one. Came down, hit our 9, which is our support. So we made a little bit on that. I think 1%, for being in for 4 days with very limited work to do that. Churchill Downs. Um, Churchill Downs still in, just didn't quite hit where it was going to go. I was had it right underneath. But Churchill Downs still has a little bit of a roll up, slow and to the right. So you're not getting much. It's not, unless some news comes out, you're not going to get a dump on Churchill Downs. So, but always have your stops in. IBZ, Vesco, we had resistance popped on, so out we go on that. So we were up about 10.5% on IBZ. Time to get out of that one at this point, but I'll take it on the swing trade. And these were all of the under the 200 list, but again, this one started out under the 200 and went above it, so it would have been a watch list. But I just kept on the under 200, so I didn't have to move it around. TXT, again, we're coming up on resistance. We pull back in to the Bollinger Band, but we're still rolling up. I'll definitely would get out, when it hits resistance at 86, 83. But right now we stand up 6.29%.
He's in here with me on the couch.
ANET, nice still run up on ANET. Support, resistance, support, resistance. We're up about 7% on this. PAA, this is Pacific or Plains All American Pipeline. Again, almost hit down where we were at, still rolling up. Again, a nice energy play. Still in this one, we're only up about 0.33%, but that's still up. Other ones that we looked at, let's go look at Bob's here real quick. There's Fastenal. So earnings popped on Fastenal and went up above the upper Bollinger Band. Now it's at 45.07. United Health doesn't seem to be able to get out of its own way, but still just flatter and flatter. Now you've got the 50 right at the upper Bollinger Band and coming down. So you got the 20, the 9, the 50, all rolling right next to each other. And again, it's an interesting one to watch. It just hasn't done anything. So again, keep an eye on it. If it ever does pop, we'll see what happens. But it's kind of dead in the water right now. BRKB. Berkshire still popping along that lower Bollinger underneath the 200. If you're an investor, you get out, wait for it to come back in. If you're a swing trader, you're out, obviously. But we'll see. It's interesting that, with the markets doing what they do, that Berkshire, which isn't going to be a company that's going to go out of business anytime soon with $380 billion of cash sitting on the sidelines, maybe they need to start, deploying that cash and bringing in a better return for their shareholders. I don't know. But this has been a downward trend since Warren Buffett in the meeting said that he was going to step down at the end of the year. BlackRock's had a nice run, and now it's going to probably pop some more. This is a nice run with BlackRock. They came out with earnings today, and obviously we're going to probably see that continue to roll. JP Morgan came out with earnings. I haven't got into the detail of it. but JP has hit resistance, and we'll see if earnings is going to pop this and continue to make it run. Had a drop back down, but news like that and earnings can be the catalyst, and that's what you look for to get past resistance is catalyst. Or on the bottom side, on support side, if you get bad news, it'll break it through that intermediate support level. So I'm sure that I'm not sure, but JP Morgan must be up this morning. I'm assuming. I haven't looked at it yet. So anyway, that's what I got, guys, for now. What do you got, Trent?
Oh, let's see here. So this is a picture of the SPY, S&P 500 ETF, and this is a picture of the VIX. The VIX continues to play below the 19 mark, which is an investable environment. Dealer Gamma, this is market makers. They have their books of business and they have to hedge out their books of business. And they do that via options and future contracts. And right now, Dealer Gamma sits at about on the S&P 500 about $626.85. What does that mean to you and I? That means there is a bullish environment for equities. As long as Dealer Gamma is positive, that's good for equities. Volatility continues to be suppressed, and a lot of the systematic and volatility related algorithmic driven funds are taking on more risk. They're taking on more equity. Where the range on the S&P 500 SPY in this case is between 635 on the top end and 620 on the low end. So as you can see, our trade trend line is drifting right up towards that that support level that is built by option contracts. And so we're seeing a positive move here. It looks like SPY will open up at $627.35 today. So that's a positive. A big positive for me is that intermediate trend line is passing through the 200. That is a big thumbs up on my end of things. Where things could get squirrely and don't look to be squirrely anytime soon is that yellow dotted line here. See if I can blow this up a bit. This yellow dotted line is where gamma goes to zero. When gamma goes to zero, that means market makers begin to hedge for the downside. Okay, they start to take on less risk. They hedge out to a negative. So if we see the S&P SPY in this case go below this yellow line, then there is potentially trouble coming. But here's the cool thing. I learned this today. If you go back to right here, June 20th of this year, this was a major option expiration date. Okay. After that major option expiration date was that Monday the 23rd, markets took off and they start moving higher. Because we had positive gamma back here on the 20th we began to increase positive gamma, market makers did back on the 23rd of June. This is an indication that possibly this Friday, coming Friday, is also an option expiration. Not as big as June, not as big as May, but it is an option expiration. And if history repeats itself, we should anticipate that Monday will be the start of another bullish push higher. Now, when I look at this, the SPY in this case, I'll look at this and let's just blow this up a little bit more. We have been treading sideways on SPY since June or July 3rd through today. As long as we continue there, chances are we will see a move higher. If we go back to this period of time as well, June 20th, which was big option expiration, we had basically a sideways moving environment from June 6th through the 20th, and then we had a move higher as we have experienced since June 20th to today. We're having building period here, in my opinion. So it's following the trade trend line. Our intermediate trend line is getting more positive. So as we get into further in the week, unless somebody does something stupid or says something stupid on X, chances are we're going to see this bull move in SPY and underlying equities continue higher. So that's in my book, a positive. And as long as volatility really stays below the 19 mark, we should anticipate as we go into the rest of the summer a positive equity market that we can take advantage of from. What not to expect is big, gigantic vertical moves upward, but more of this steady eddy kind of approach, following the trade trend line, coming back every so often, testing it, building support levels, moving higher. So as we come into Friday, think of things in 30-day increments. Come into Friday, as long as geopolitical and nobody blows somebody up over the weekend, chances are we're going to move for 30 more days, bullish market, equity market into the next option expiration, which will be August. If signs that there's trouble ahead is if we see option expiration in August be bigger than July's, be bigger than June's. So you want to look at that rate of change of what people are doing on a hedging basis. So that's something I'm watching. I'm optimistic. I've moved from optimistically neutral to optimistic and very positive about this market going into August. And as we end the summer months and people come back to active, moves in the market, I think another big element is China or NVIDIA's H20 chips being potentially approved to be sold to China. That's another big move for the biggest market cap stock on the planet right now. That's going to hit their books starting, if that happens in the next, say, 30 days, anticipate those sales will hit their books in fourth quarter and first quarter and going into next year. Remember, that was written off. About $5 billion was written off in, I think, first quarter, because that was the ability to sell those H20 chips to China was stopped by the Trump administration. So I think this whole cycle of equities moving higher is very positive. I do expect, inflation rate, today's report was basically inflation was up 0.3% for the month of June. So inflation's annually at 2.7%. I don't know if that's news anymore. I look at inflation as I experience it when I go to the grocery store, when I pay my car insurance, when I pay all this other stuff. So that to me that's baked into the system. But I do see positivity. Bob has brought up the whole big bad bill, or not big bad bill, big beautiful bill. I almost got you on cover. There you go. The big beautiful bill and the potential tax savings for corporations, and that money coming back into corporations being spent, which then spurs on our economy and so on. That most likely we'll see sometime next year in the positivity of that. So overall, I'm optimistic. The tell sheet 12, we're hitting certain resistance levels. We're hitting earnings seasons. I anticipate the tell sheet 12 will be sort of sideways for a little bit. As we get earnings from these 12 different companies, that could be a positive, that could be a negative. I anticipate there's some optimism that will be baked into those earnings calls, and that will propel the tell sheet 12 higher going forward. So I'm optimistic. I do, at some point, somebody's going to screw up and say something bad, and volatility will spike to some level, but I don't see it spiking to where it was in April, May. So there's opportunities out there. Get ready. If you have dry powder, look for opportunities to deploy that money and get to work. So we're in the second half of the year. Remember, mutual funds hedge funds, institutions who are performance-based compensation, they're going to be looking to make more money this year because I think a lot of them are lagging. So you're going to see aggressive moves and positive moves in equities, in my opinion. So that's my roundup. Option market says go, baby, go, go, baby, go. So let's go. What you got, Ben?
Let's go. Got a few chart requests, so we'll go over these and then get into some discussion. Moderna had a nice run above the 9, below the 200. So it had been on the below the 200 list. Rolled up right along the upper Bollinger Band, and then we hit some resistance here and sell orders above, but we're starting to see it sideways movement. Not too bad on the MACD. It's starting to roll just a little bit down on the RSI, but still above. So if it can go sideways and something can come pop it back up over resistance, you have all the way until 36.24 where you have some sell limits, and then of course you have resistance at the 200. So looks like it had a nice run. It's kind of taking a little break right now, and we'll see if it can actually get catalyst above the resistance level. I'm going to go back just a year and take a look and see what Moderna has done. Yeah, you can see it's this was big back in the COVID days, and just kind of you can trend this all the way down sideways, sideways, sideways. We've come up to a pretty good level of resistance. Okay, you can see back here, and that's where we are right now. And except that we do have the 200 coming down. So be interesting if this can pop up and get above that 200. I don't know when the last time Moderna has been above the 200. Let's go back. Okay, so it would have been back in 2024, about a year ago. So we'll see if what it does. But again, 200 is still going down, trending down, but starting to flatten a little bit. But we'll take a look at that. Keep it on your list. And right now, for swing, I wouldn't do a swing on it right now. Marvel, RVO. Robert asked for these. Oh, okay. Let's go back. Let's go 6 months and see what's going on Marvel. So Marvel, again, it ran under the 200 about after the last earnings report that it had. It had an earnings report of 23 cents a share. That was back in March and dropped right down below the 200. Continuously kind of a nice little trend up here until we got up just below the 200 again. And now here we are facing resistance and then a lowering downturning 9. And you're also, the oscillators are -2 on Marvell. So again, it's going to have to do something significant to pop past that. Bollinger Bands are starting to converge a little bit on Marvell. And again, the oscillators are not there for me on a swing trade. Roblox, RBLX. Oh, okay. Well, this is had a nice trend. Let's go back 6 months and see what we're looking at. We're above the 200. Look at this. Came and tested the 200 for 3 days and then bounced off. I want to go back just a little further. Let's go back a year. Yeah, you've been, this has been a nice investment style stock. If you're using the 200, it comes and it pops off of it, but it hasn't really gone below, kind of like Berkshire has done that finally. This is kind of what Berkshire looked like, but it finally went below. But now you've had a nice run up. Look at this above the 9 all the way since about March or April 14th. We're at 56.91, and yesterday it closed at 111.83. So it's been a nice run up on Roblox. You get back to it. So, I mean, you have some sell orders right above it. You're outside the upper Bollinger Band. On average, you trade 5% on the outside of a Bollinger Band. But again, momentum's your friend, and you're starting to get a little bit of a turn on the MACD. Right now, it's negative. But again, watch out for sell orders on the top. But there's a nice run on Roblox. And Uber. Okay, Uber had a nice run off the 200. And then we came up and we've hit resistance. So we'll get a little closer here. Again, it's one of those resistance. Look at the 9 coming up and rolling over. Unless something really comes up and pops this, you're going to have a tough time getting past the 96.84 level. And you're seeing the Bollinger Bands kind of converging now, and you're seeing also the oscillators moving down on Uber. So from a swing trade, This would have been better back in this area to kind of run that up. But right now, it's not showing me that I would want to jump in on that at this moment. And that's what I got, Trent. So what do you think about?
Point out,
Go ahead.
what's that?
Go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to point this out. This is part of the tell sheet 12. This was brought to us by one of our Bob from New York. Power Solutions International looks to open up at 76.89, which brings us right at this resistance level that we saw Monday the 7th of July. We've seen it touch it again on July 8th, opened up there and closed below it, but closed above the trade trend line. And it has been trending on this trade trend line for a while. This could be another opportunity to add a position to this and for a move higher. So just something to put on your radar. I was just flipping through tell sheet 12 and I saw that and I was like, oh, that's very interesting. So but yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
What are your thoughts on Apple? We talked about that. We were talking a little bit about innovation the other day, Trent, and I would agree with you. I'm not an Apple fan. I've worked at Compaq Computer. We didn't like Apple. We tried to put them out of business, and at least in the PC business, we did a pretty good job of doing that. And then they took miniaturization and made your phone a computer, and it was very innovative back then. And now I don't use Apple phones, but are the new models that come out, are they innovative over the old models? Are they worth whatever the price you pay for them? And maybe that's why, is there a chance to see Apple?
There's no
come
innovation,
back?
Mark.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what we were talking about. Here's the stock chart for the last year.
Go ahead, Trent. There's no
So
innovation.
here's my take.
And the big thing, no AI. They failed. That's
So
what I call for Tim to get out.
Bob, here's my thinking. I go to the gym every day.
Me too.
I have AirPods, I have my cell phone, my keys, and my wallet. I live in a world today where in the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen a shift from visual to voice to hearing. And what I mean by that is I'm now able to talk to a computer and I can do research, I can work on problems, I can do all this visual or via voice and basically voice. I'm getting away from these days from the total visual experience. And what I mean by this is I go to the gym and I'm carrying this, my wallet, my keys, and my AirPods. And my question is, why on God's green earth has Apple not come out with everything integrated to the AirPods so that I can walk into my gym, sync up with their Apple server, which then gives me the ability to log into my account at Spotify or Apple Music, rather Apple Music, because that would capture more users, and link up my playlist as I go into the gym.
You answered your own question already.
Okay. My point is when Steve Jobs died and their biggest main designer, who I believe has left the company,
Leaving.
developed, what's his name?
He's leaving.
He's left or he's doing other projects now outside of Apple.
Yeah.
When those two things happened, Apple died. They are going the way of Polaroid. And if you remember the Steve Jobs and the CEO conversation, Polaroid died, Steve Jobs survived. What has to happen, and I put out a video, and Bob, of course, you commented on it. Apple needs to buy Elon. Elon is going to innovate. OpenAI out of business, Google out of business.
But that's not going to happen. That's
Apple,
not reality.
just bear with me, Bob.
All right, I'm with you.
The point is they're going to go the way of Tupperware, okay? They're going to go the way of normal, nothing. And the thing is, my daughter, who is in social media, has her own business, uses her iPhone, said to me at the last upgrade, there's nothing new. The camera isn't any better. I'm not upgrading. She's 25, runs a six-figure business, and she's going, they've topped out. They're done. And my point is, Tim needs to do one of two things: some sort of partnership with Elon in some way, or somebody as innovative, or he needs to step aside and bring some innovation into it, or Elon needs to buy Apple, because there has been no innovation with Apple since Steve left. And I would
We
even
agree on
say,
that.
you know, even while Steve was around, there has been really no innovation. The biggest thing they have done, in my opinion, recently is maybe really nothing, really nothing.
Right.
And I think this is where this world, we have to start thinking in our world of more virtual, the whole Tony Stark in his lab kind of visualization. As I was telling Mark, why in God's green earth, I wear glasses every day, is my internet embedded a browser right there in my lens? Why is it not happening? Why hasn't that happened? Now, granted, it will create me more anxiety. It'll screw my brain up and fine, but I'm down that path already. Okay. So why hasn't Tim said, hey, dudes, this is the world. I wear glasses. Why is I'm not seeing the internet? Why am I not talking to Siri, via the arm in my thing? And why is it when I walk into the gym, I log in with my fingerprint. I then get in, and my music syncs up on Apple Music in my AirPods, and I can look at the news as I'm walking on the treadmill. Why hasn't that happened? And that's where I go, this is where the world is headed. That's where Apple has an opportunity, but I don't think they have the crew to do it. And that's why I think somebody will figure it out. And chances are it'll be Elon. And we will do
Well,
something.
my thoughts on, I mean, you hit on a lot of, I mean, Steve Jobs was the innovator, period.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
And
He
when he
wasn't an
died,
innovator. He thought in simplicity.
yeah, right. But when he knew what everybody wanted. He
Right.
understood what was required to advance the human race, right? And at the end of the day, when he passed away, he handed Tim Cook a silver platter with all his future products on it. And at the time, it was the watch was innovating, okay?
Right.
And Tim brought it through what he put together for the watch, okay? And the ear pods and the headphones, okay? I'm an Apple guy. Everything I have is Apple. I'm in their ecosystem. But the big thing that they failed at that everybody is in front is AI, okay?
Yeah.
They don't have a Gork. They don't have a Chat GPT. They just don't have anything that brings it all together. I mean, I use it every day. I don't waste my time on Google anymore. I go right to Gork now. Gork is now in my Cybertruck. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just hit the speaker and talk to it, and it will give you the answers that you're looking for as you're driving, right? It's absolutely amazing. They failed at that, right? So this is an opportunity. Do you really think that Apple's going to buy Elon? I don't think so.
No,
Not going to happen,
it
right?
was
Do
more,
you
it was
think
more
that
of
Elon would buy Apple? Could he buy Apple?
no,
No, I don't think that that's going to happen.
no.
Could they get into a deal together? Elon won't. I mean, his head's too big, right?
Yeah.
He's too
Well,
smart. He's too
Even Buffett got
smart.
out of Apple.
What?
Even Buffett sold a lot of his Apple.
Yeah, because he didn't, or his people, not him himself. He's got a few smart cookies in there who did that investment. It wasn't really him, but um,
I
I'm
think
just saying
Apple,
they dropped the ball, and this is a big one because now, if Google is working on their AI and what they've done with videos and all this other stuff that they're doing, here's the problem. The problem is the people that are in the system, and now they may move out of their system, and then they're really in trouble. Okay, because they may start to lose guys like us who have everything of Apple's, right? Because Samsung makes a good product. Um,
yeah.
you know, it's a
The-
phenomenal product. So the only thing that keeps me in Apple is the ecosystem, right? But
Yeah.
now, if I can't get that AI, what do I want to stay there for?
Well, I think, Bob, it goes to like, what is the future of hardware? What is the future? What is the future of you and I functioning on a day-to-day basis? And that's where I go. We went from no phones in the 90s in our pockets
Yeah.
to phones in our pockets
Yeah.
to stuff in our pockets to now I see the
To the
evolution of
watch.
nothing in my pockets.
Dick Tracy had it right.
Yeah, I even the watch. I have never owned a watch. I
Yeah.
don't want to own a watch. I don't want to track my time, right? And I look at this where this technology is moving. There's it's going to air. We don't see air, yet we depend on it so much. That is sort of like that's where the world, in my opinion, is headed. It's a matter of, and I don't see Apple doing it. And so I look at Apple as, yeah, they're the number two biggest market cap company, but that's only because every 401k plan has large cap growth and they have to own Apple. And until Apple really botches it, Apple will just
I,
flatline
I
for a
haven't
long
found,
time.
I haven't followed Apple. I haven't looked at the fundamentals, but are they growing revenues at all at any
I,
significant
Their
level
services
like
are
they
growing.
used to?
Their services.
I mean,
But at a significant level, like double, triple
No, it's
digits,
not. It's
double
not
digits?
enough. It's not
it's like
enough to
five, ten
carry that
percent.
big. That thing. I mean, think about the numbers you need every day to carry that. And as they start to deteriorate, which will start to happen as AI takes over, uh, you know, you could see Apple stock down to $100 eventually.
It's just sort of
Okay.
like,
It's a very successful company though, any way which you look at it. I mean,
It
yeah,
was.
it's not
I
hitting
mean, but it's
50.
not,
Well,
it's kind of gone through the curb though. I mean, it hasn't gone through the curb, or they do need, do you think that the innovation is the way it used to be, Paul? I mean, you're an Apple
um,
guy.
here's what I think about, like, say when Ford came out with their car, right? Where there's still Fords out there to now, we're driving. I think Apple's going to be
sure.
around for a long time just because, and Apple's been a follower by nature. They wait for the other guys to come out with the ideas. Not, I'm talking about jobs here, but
Well,
usually, you know,
I don't
go
think
ahead.
anyone's saying Apple's going to go away. I just think they're saying that unless they become more innovative, where's the growth coming
It's
from?
not the question
Because
of
Ford's
them.
not
It's
Yeah.
growing.
not, wait
Ford's
a
not
minute. It's
growing.
not the question of them going or leaving. I never said they were going to leave. They're just not going to be at the top of the list like they've been. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I
But
mean,
I mean, it's a phenomenal company. I mean, if you look at it from a,
Well,
their
that's
is
foot,
it?
good.
their
Is it
footprint is
in
huge.
comparison to everything else out there today? I
Like I'm gonna
mean,
say,
yeah,
name me a
it has
product
been
that
phenomenal.
name me a product that's more popular than Apple that we have as a group own. Like, not as a
Uh,
stock. We all have, most of us have Apple phones, but
I
you can't
don't.
say it about what other
no,
product? What other?
actually, Apple phones on a global scale is not that big of a dominator. It's mostly Samsung. It's mostly what was the operating system that they run on, Android.
I
On
oh
a global
Android. Yeah,
scale, Apple
Android's
is
bigger.
not
Yeah.
that big when it comes to their phones.
I'm just saying, it has a monster
I
footprint.
but I
It's
will say
going
I
away
own Apples.
not
I've
going
got
anywhere.
what, four Apple computers sitting around me right now. But to me, I like to look at this. My kids have all had Apple computers. I got one, two, three, four computers right around me that are Apple. They're out of date. They don't work.
I
I
figured.
look at it and I go, where are we going to see innovation out of Apple?
Why do
Where are
they
we
have
going to
to?
see
They don't have
less?
to. They're going to follow. They're slow movers. These Apple guys. They're not going to be on the top of the heap for innovators. They've always been, lagging. First they want to sure, and they came out with the Oculus. That's their big eyeglass thing. But I mean, that's how they roll. That's how that company rolls. I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
don't,
that was a failure.
Yeah.
That was a major
well,
failure.
failure in that it didn't make sales. Okay, right,
Right, well, that's
absolutely.
failure.
Well, I think
No
that's what
money,
it's
that's a
about.
failure.
I'm just saying the product as a whole is phenomenal. There's not too many products that we've been around to see such a
Then
thing.
why aren't
That's all
people
I'm saying.
buying it?
Samsung has
yeah.
the largest market share of phones.
Absolutely,
put it-
but people are not
I just
gonna
put it in
buy
the
a
chat.
phone. They're not gonna buy the phone because the camera is so superior at this point. How much more can it get better, right?
Yeah.
User friendly. That's why people buy
Yeah,
it.
but a phone,
Right.
Paul, a phone is $1,100.
Mine's user friendly.
You got an Apple phone in your pocket. Why don't you have a Samsung?
I love it. I'm not saying I don't
Okay.
love it. I'm not knocking it. But listen, I want AI at this point now, right?
Okay.
We're using it in our office. It's on my desktop, which is not Apple. Okay. It's
Well, the
required,
desktop,
it's
because
a
it's less
requirement.
expensive
It's
and
the
can do the same
future.
job. The reason that Apple's not on your desktop is because you have a less expensive uh, Dell or something like that, and an Apple costs more money. But you're sticking.
No,
You have
no, it's not for that reason. The reason that we go with Dells, yes, and we have Dells, is because of the systems that we run. Doesn't run on Apple very well, the ISO.
no businesses typically go to an Apple system unless they're in arts or highly developed
Okay,
type
so,
artsy starts.
okay.
I mean,
So
that's how it is.
what's the
My
point?
my point is, just because the stock price is not high, it's a great company. I mean, and it's not coming out with the latest and greatest thing. They have a monster footprint and they're not going anywhere. That's all. That's
Okay,
all I'm saying.
that's fine.
You're right,
And
Paul, you're
I'm not
absolutely right. They're
disagreeing
not
that they're not a
going
great.
anywhere.
I'm not disagreeing that they're not a great company and not going anywhere. Just
Yeah.
their stock is not going to perform well for a while.
Well, it's
Until they do,
what's gonna
they
be the
get,
driver?
until they
What-
innovate, until
Yeah.
they start moving the pin in the right direction. It's not in the right
It
direction.
might be a Ford. Ford's not going anywhere either. Well,
Yeah, but
maybe.
Ford
Right,
stock's at
exactly.
$10.
Ford's not going
almost-
Ford
anywhere.
stock's at
I keep saying
$10.
that,
Listen,
but you're right.
wasn't for the government, Ford would have left a long time ago,
Yeah.
Well,
along with GM.
I don't know.
Actually, Ford didn't take the buyout.
Ford
Yeah.
did
GM
not take the buyout.
They did
GM
not. They did
did.
not take any of that. Of that money, the
took it,
GM.
right?
Yeah. Bill, you got a question. You're on mute.
I have a question which is completely off the tack of what you're going on.
Okay.
It's all right. It's good for. Let's switch.
It's been sitting in my account and I forgot all about it until I looked at it last night and I found out it's up over 100%. I also looked at the specifications and it's supposed to be in 3 years, it's supposed to be at $20. At the present time is at $17.28. I just checked, it's up another 50 cents. So my question is, what is happening? Should I sell it? Should I take my profit or what should I do?
What's the company?
IREN.
Oh, Iron.
Go for it, Trent.
So this is my look at it. Let me pull this up really good. So this is where it's at today. Looks to open at 1740. This is a daily chart. I look at this and I go, okay, it broke and has resisted. It broke resistance that was developed in July of last year, as well as December. Okay, it broke through that on July 3rd. It has built sort of it's building this sort of accumulation phase, in my opinion. My intermediate trend line is about to cross through the 200. That's positive. RSI is pretty hefty, is above 50, but it's hefty. I think where they are as a company in what they're doing. So they started as Bitcoin miners. Of course, they're benefiting from Bitcoin moving higher, but they're also transitioning to data center development. And if you think about, Kerry talks about this a lot. Data centers are going to be first big infrastructure phase, as we saw with, freeways and interstate systems throughout the United States. That's going to continue, and they're focusing on that. So, in my opinion, that's another 12-month, 18-month development that these guys are going to capitalize on. So, I anticipate as we see more money come back into infrastructure with this big, beautiful bill, over the next 12 months, Iran is going to participate in that. Is $20 the mark? I think it could be easily be higher based on flow of money coming back into the equity market as we are seeing since April. And I see this going beyond 20, to be honest with you. So as long as they can keep in line with earnings, as long as they can continue to grab market share and build this sort of data center development side, it will run its course, maybe in the next 24 or 36 months. But I like Iran. I like where we're at right now. I like where it's been accumulating at this point. So I'm positive on it.
It had a 6.75 increase yesterday.
Yeah, it was up 6.74. If I'm looking at it from a weekly standpoint, I still have, it's a young company, so it came out in November, the week of November 15th, 21. This is, if you go back to where, back in December of 21, there was resistance where we're at. So if we see on a weekly chart a break higher, I'm pretty optimistic we'll get into the mid 20s and possibly 30s. But it really comes down to spending of infrastructure money. And Bob's hit on this week and last week. I think there's a lot of momentum in the infrastructure build out of data centers, AI, and so on and so forth. And I think these guys can be a part of it. So I believe in it. So it's part of the tell sheet 12. I think it's meeting all the criteria there as well. So I give it a thumbs up.
There you go.
On an interesting note on building out data centers, this morning they had on a gentleman, and I have to go back to it, but he's talking about they're developing data centers that are going to be put up on the moon and in space because of the sun will provide the power for the data centers. I found that very interesting.
Well, that's so interesting. You think about what we're talking about just sort of this. It's about, it's about about radio waves, about electrical waves. It's about connecting. And now you're talking about putting a data center on the moon. I mean, think about the triangulation it creates.
I mean,
Yeah, how insane
that would
is that?
settle one of their biggest issues, which is power.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. This is going to get really Jetson like far out, I think, in the next 5-10 years.
We are Jetson. Now we're Jetson. We had a request for Copang to take a look. I just went back a little bit on this chart. Copang had a nice run when it came up on the 200. Couldn't quite get there. That was back in March. Rolled back up into May, and then finally broke the 200 again. Here's your Paul Tudor Jones, investment. Your swing trading, it was a nice swing trade up until you hit this resistance level right here. So something's got to budge. You're above the 9, but you're still hitting resistance here, even with a higher volume level here. And even when you had volume back here, you still hit that resistance and couldn't get above it. You got the 9 going sideways. So just be careful. You're going to need something to get past that. If you can get past that in a meaningful manner, you got some sell orders at 33.04. So I want to go back just a little more to Apple just for a second, because I don't think anyone said Apple's not a good company. No one said that. All I think that we were discussing is that without the innovation, I mean, because we go through all the Mag 7 charts every day, and Apple's just kind of stagnant there. Without innovation, what's going to keep them a Mag 7? What's going to keep them not from going down the forward path where their stock is $11? Okay, that's what we're talking about. You know, Ford's not a bad.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly. That's the
Yeah.
point.
I mean, I will always own most likely an Apple phone unless something else. I've tried a Samsung phone for 6 months
What if
and I
that?
ditched it. I
What
ditched
what
it.
what if that? What if Elon came out with his own line of phones and infrastructure?
Yeah.
He would have to amaze me. And I don't doubt he will. But right now, I'll use Apple phone. You know, I don't use Apple computer because I can't figure it out.
I have it. You know, I love the product. Am I going to buy
I
another
like my Air.
phone? No, I'm not.
Yeah, I like their Apple TV. The movies they come out with are quality. You know, I like their AirPods, but and I like Apple. I think I like what Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak initial mission with it was. I love the great simplicity.
There's no
Do I
innovation.
think it is a stock I will become a multimillionaire on? No, no.
But you
And
know
I
what?
my
But
fear is they go the way of Ford
we're talking
and
about
lack of innovation.
we're talking about a very simple thing, right? AI.
Yeah.
Everybody, they just have to make a deal with somebody, right?
Well,
Anthropic
supposedly
or
they're
somebody.
getting in bed with Anthropic.
Right. But it's not there, right? And
Right.
they're not telling their shareholders, hey, we're making a deal with X company, and we're going to incorporate it into our products. But they're behind. If you look at their products, right? This iPhone, this is a 15. I haven't updated. I'm not going to update, right? From this point.
Slow down.
Until there is something that is significant to pay $1,500 for another phone.
So what's the difference between that and my brand new Samsung phone I just got this weekend?
It's just the ecosystem.
Ecosystem.
I mean, besides, I
Ecosystem.
only paid $3 for mine.
What'd you say?
I only paid $3 for my phone. If I pay $35 a phone a month,
Yeah. I mean, those are the deals you get.
yeah. So what's the difference technologically? What's the difference between your Apple and my brand new Samsung? Can it do anything more? Can it make me more money?
I don't,
Can it drive me
very
to the
honest
beach?
with you, and to be fair, I've never owned a Samsung phone or, you know, in another ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean I've only owned Samsungs. Well, in the recent time, I used to have a BlackBerry of all things way back when.
Yeah,
One of
so
those
did
little
I.
one of those
Those were
little
the
teeny
times.
ones. Yeah,
Yeah, and then we got pushed to these.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had the flip phone, which is probably the Motorola, which was probably my favorite phone of all. I felt like Captain Kirk every time I answered the phone. Beam me up.
Jim.
My kids forced me into the flip phones for texting. You know, the ones that they were horizontal and you flip them open and it was a little keypad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
BlackBerry had one of those.
Yeah.
All right, we're at the half hour and beyond. This has been a very good discussion.
Yeah, I
Um,
think the whole idea, the Apple discussion, I appreciate everyone's commentary on it. And I know
Yeah.
that people get passionate about a company, but we're not saying Apple's a bad company. We're just saying we don't see the innovation that we once did.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're seeking. We're
I,
seeking
I had
innovation, you know.
Have you seen any innovation since Tim Cook has taken over? Has there been any significant innovation? Like when Steve Jobs was with us and running Apple, there was constant innovation. He was always, you know, 100 feet in front of everybody.
Bob,
Today Apple's behind.
Bob, recognize who Tim Cook is. With Steve Jobs, Tim Cook
He's a money guy.
help build Apple to what it is. Tim Cook is a operations guy.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, he's not
Not
the
an
guy
innovator.
out dropping acid on the back porch and looking at the world from a different point of view. That's Steve Jobs.
Right. Right.
And
I agree with that. I mean,
when you look at, I mean, look at Jensen Young. He's both scientific, but also creative. You
And
look at
Elon, too.
Elon,
Elon, yeah.
scientific
Same
and
thing.
creative.
Yeah.
You look at I think you're looking for companies and you're looking for those long-term big bangers. You look for that combination of creativity. I mean, who's the Palantir guy? Um, I mean, the
Uh,
guy's a wacko,
I think of it, yeah, he's crazy, right?
right?
Get his
But
name.
yeah, but in combination with a good operations manager, that company can go crazy. Look at what's a Lucky whatever who sold the glasses to Facebook and now is in defense. I mean, the guy's a wacko. I mean, he's totally out there. But look what he's doing for in the defense
Are
industry
you
when
done?
autonomous.
Are you
What's
done
it?
yet?
Yeah, and it's a private company.
Yeah, that to me is what you look when you're looking for longer innovation. That's what you're looking for. The guy who you just look at and go, you saw him in high school. He was in the corner and he was like totally out of his mind, or he was
Yeah.
just such a crazy geek. You're like, no, but you can't
Yeah.
relate to him.
Back
But
to
that's the
Apple,
guy you're looking for.
that's the problem.
Yeah,
It does, the innovator is no longer there.
yeah. All right, we're gonna sum it up there. Y'all have a great morning and great afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And thank you all for participating. Really appreciate
you.
it.
Yep.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thank you.
See you later,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Live loud.